70 years ago, Ernest Cote and tens of thousands of fellow Canadians landed on Juno Beach. This time, the veteran and his war comrades have received a far warmer welcome on their return to France for this year's D-Day commemorations. An infantryman, Ernest returned to Canada after the war, staying in the military and becoming a general. Soon to be 101, the centenarian remembers vividly the day the Western Allies moved to wrest back Europe from Nazi control. The landing for the Canadian troops began around 8 o'clock. It went well, but of course there were dead to the left and right of us. Despite the carnage, Ernest recalls the calmness of his British comrades in arms, who stopped at 11 for tea. They were against the ramp. A group of them were drinking a cup of coffee, or I should say tea. I had to tell the captain, listen, when you've finished your tea, we need to move the dead as quickly as possible, as it's no good for the morale of the troops coming in. A rapid Allied advance was seen as crucial to gain a strong foothold on French soil, but not everything went to plan. The goal was for the infantry to get 8 kilometers inland on foot, like we say in Latin, pedibus cum diabis, but they didn't get that far.
Comme on dirait en latin, pedibus jambisque, ils vont pas loin.
So for the fourth wave of soldiers, we supplied them with at least 100 fold-up bicycles so they could reach their objective. The Normandy he returns to is also hardly recognizable to the one he first saw all those years ago. The Canadians were the first to take German prisoners. They were cosseted by the people of Normandy with Calvados and everything else. The French were delighted, even though they had lost women and children and their homes. The people of Normandy really suffered, and when we see the prosperity today, it's hard to believe. This prosperity came from being released from the Nazi yoke. Ernest says the ceremonies he's come to attend are largely for his fallen comrades and the ultimate price they paid for the world we live in today. The memory, unfortunately for me, is for those that lost their lives here. But what do you want? Freedom has a price, and when you see these headstones perfectly aligned, this is the sacrifice individuals made for freedom.
Tout rangé. C'est le sacrifice que ces individus ont fait pour la liberté.
Our correspondent says the war memorial in Benny-Rivière in the peaceful Normandy countryside is extremely moving. More than 2,000 men rest here, with the youngest Canadian buried being little more than 16 years old.
Aux cérémonies du D-Day pour Euronews, Laurence Alexandrovitch.